Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I have finally just unlocked Atomic Camo in Call of Duty Vanguard after many grindy hours, lots of ridiculous challenges, and so much pain. But I think I have a very good understanding of where the Vanguard weapons rank currently in the Season 1 meta. So I thought I would do a tier list. I've never done one of these before, so I hope you enjoy it. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you would like to see more of this stuff. And also let me know where you think these guns belong. I'm going to be breaking it down in these categories here. Top meta, the absolute top of the top. Competitive, very useful, but beaten by these weapons. Average, just in the middle. It can go either way. Below average, and then garbage. Don't use at all, basically. So let me know what you think. I think a lot of these weapons right now are really useful, and Vanguard is pretty balanced. However, there's definitely some guns that outshine the rest. So let's get straight into it. I've got the SMGs first up. We start off with the Thompson, the M1928. I think this is a very competitive SMG. It's got a good fire rate. It's got good damage. However, it is a little bit slow, and sometimes the accuracy of this thing feels a little bit weird, so I'm leaving it out of the top meta and putting it in competitive. The Owen Gun, I think, is right there alongside the Tommy Gun. It's got a really good damage output. It's got a huge magazine if you choose to run that. However, it is a little bit clunky and a little bit slow, especially with this magazine that can get in the way. The Type 100, it was top meta right at the start with those damage increasing magazines. However, they've since nerfed that, and I think they've brought it right into that competitive area. It's really good. It just gets outshone by a couple of the other SMGs. One of those in particular is the MP40. I think the MP40 is one of the best SMGs in the game. It just is an all-rounder. It's got good movement speed. It's got good magazine size. It has really reliable recoil. You can use this up close, at range. It's just a jack of all trades. The Sten I also think is really competitive because it has that gung-ho aspect to it. You can build this out as a hipfire monster. It's got really good fire rate and movement speed, so I think it's also competitive as well. The PPSH for me is just average. I think this is the SMG that falls a little far behind at the moment because it's got some really interesting recoil. It feels like it's got really average bloom, and I just don't like the feel of it. It also was one of the worst weapons to get long shots with. Oh my goodness, this thing absolutely gave me pain. And for that reason, I'm putting it in average. I think all of these picks are much better. I don't have the picture down here, but the Well Gun is also top meta, S tier right now. It is an absolute monster in Vanguard Season 1 since it's been added. Ridiculous SMG. So a lot of really great options for the SMG category right now. The next section, we move on to shotguns. Shotguns all belonged in top meta when this game first came out. My goodness, they were broken. And the combat shotgun for me is still absolute top meta. This thing blows people away up close. It's great at range. It's still the best shotgun at range. You can build this out to be an absolute speed monster and also really great from far away. So by far the best shotgun in the game right now. The Ironhorn revolving, it is competitive just because of that slower reload. It's very similar to the combat. However, you can shoot it a little bit faster, and it also has gung-ho, so there are some advantages to running this thing. The reload is just much slower. The Gracie Auto for me is just average at the moment. While it does have gung-ho, it does have a slower movement speed, I feel like, and it also seems to take extra shots, that being because it is semi-auto. It's just not that much better than the Ironhorn, in my opinion. It falls in that average category. And for me, the double barrel right now is average as well because they nerfed that damage, and it takes an extra shot to kill. And with that double barrel taking an extra shot kill, it really takes it out of that viable competitive area and puts it into average. And thank goodness, because these shotguns were broken. Moving on to the LMGs. And the LMGs, in my opinion, are all really decent. They all feel really great. For me, the Bren is top meta at the moment. This thing is amazing in Warzone, and it's also fantastic in Vanguard as well. It's just got a massive damage output. It's got easy recoil to manage. You really just cannot miss a shot with this thing. The MG42 for me is competitive. It's really great if you put on that increasing fire rate magazine. It's got really manageable recoil. The movement speed is slow, but you expect that with an LMG. For me, the Type 11 falls in this average category. A very great weapon to use if you kit it out the right way. However, if you're looking at the Bren and the MG as well as the DP, which we'll talk about in a second, it just falls a bit below those, so I'm putting it in average. The DP27 for me is top meta. This thing is a monster as well. It's also incredible because of its 100 magazine size if you choose to kit it out that way. And the other added bonus with the DP is you can smash air support out of the sky with the armor-piercing rounds. It feels like it takes down UAVs, counter UAVs in 3 or 4 bullets, much better than all of the launches. So for me, it is a top meta LMG. Moving on to the Marksman Rifles. The Marksman Rifles were actually the last category of weapon that I got gold on diamond to get atomic camo, and it's just because these things are kind of a nothing weapon category. Like, they're not as good as the snipers, they're not as good as the ARs, you can't use them close range, they're just really a weird kind of weapon at the moment. There's no real reason to use them in my opinion. The M1 Garand, it's a satisfying weapon, it's old school, it's really iconic, but it just doesn't do anything special to me. So it goes in the average category. In fact, this thing, I'm actually going to put it below average. I've changed my mind. The Sakura rounds, when you get those 16 round mags, you're really excited because it's that last attachment, and it actually makes the gun worse. It is terrible. The SVT, you can build this out to be a monster 2-shot kill, but the fire rate is so slow. This thing is garbage. There is really no reason to use it in my opinion. And the G43, I'm putting as average. This thing has a fully auto barrel and it actually makes it much better. But again, the damage is not high enough for it to be in that competitive area. There's just no real reason to use these Marksman Rifles at all. Moving into the snipers, the Type 99, garbage. This thing, slow fire rate, it hit markers ridiculously. I feel like it hit markers when it just should not, and it is absolutely garbage in my opinion. There's no reason to use that, especially with some of these other rifles. The Kar98K, top meta. This thing is a beast. It one hits really reliably. It's great at distance if you want to set it out like that. It's great for quick scoping up close. I really enjoyed leveling the Kar98 up and using it close range and medium range. It was a lot of fun. Also extremely satisfying. 3-line rifle. This is average for me. It's just not as good as the Kar98. It's definitely not competitive. I feel like it hit markers a little too often. The iron sights aren't really great for close range. You can't really use the scope. There's just a lot of things wrong with the 3-line rifle. I hope they buff the ADS speed or make the damage a little bit better. I just feel like it's an average weapon. And finally, the anti-tank rifle. This thing is a monster. My goodness, I was really expecting to not like this gun. Semi-auto snipers I've never got along with really, but this thing is a beast. My goodness, it just does not hit marker. It kills everything and everyone in its path. It's got that 10-round mag. It's an absolute monster. Alright, let's talk about melee. Combat shield for me, garbage. This thing was not very fun to use at all. It's great if you're running it on your back so you don't get shot in the back, but there's no real other reason to use it. The fighting knife, below average. It's fast, it's fun, it's just, there's no point using it with so many other great close range weapons. The pistols, I actually had a lot of fun using the pistols. None of them are too amazing. Some of them are decent, others not so great. The top break for me, garbage. This thing, it is so slow, it doesn't hit hard enough, it doesn't one-shot in the head. Even using a Kimbo, this thing is pretty average, and it was by far the most painful to level up. The Rat for me is average. It's got a fast fire rate. I'm pretty sure it's uncapped fire rate, but it is pretty decent. 1911, I actually really like these. I'm going to put these as a competitive pistol. I mean, compared to these other guns in here, it's not competitive, but for a pistol, it is a really competitive secondary option. The Klauser for me, I'm also putting this as competitive. I was really impressed with the Klauser. My goodness, this thing hits hard. It's got a slower fire rate, but it is really fun to use. And the machine pistol, I'm going to put this as below average. The recoil is just ridiculous. You can't really manage it. The 40-round mag, it is decent, but until then, it's really annoying to level. This is just a below average pistol for me. So moving into launches, the Panzerfaust. Holy crap, this thing was terrible to try and get gold. Waiting for dogs, can't shoot things out of the air. Oh my goodness, bad memories. This is garbage. There is no real reason to use this one, especially with the other ones available. The Bazooka, competitive. Honestly, this thing is beastly. It shoots things out of the air really quickly. It's got a quick ADS. Get that rocket away. Panzerschreck, bit slower. I'm going to say this is average. I don't really... you know what? I'm going below average. It just doesn't do what it should do compared to the bazooka. And then the launcher, this is average. I really enjoyed using the launcher. You can make this thing work. It can clear out a room. It can clear out a domination point. It's really fun to use. And our final category is the assault rifles. This was a lot of fun leveling these up. I think this is an assault rifle built game, and a lot of these are really decent. I'm going to start down here with the Cooper Carbine. The Cooper Carbine is top meta. This thing absolutely lasers people. It's got no recoil, incredible damage, great fire rate. You really can't go wrong with the Cooper. Also, the STG, top meta right now at the moment. It is a top meta rifle. It's got great recoil. It's got really great damage. You can build it out in lots of different ways to use up close or far range. I really like the Volk. I think this thing is quite good. This is competitive. You can build it out also as a hipfire beast. Lots of really great reasons to use the Volk. It's also got really manageable recoil. The NZ for me, I feel like this is average just because the magazines are really troublesome. You can't find a magazine that really works. The fast mag, it's just not enough bullets. I don't really love it very much. The AS44, this was the one I didn't really love either. It's got great fire rate, but it just doesn't hit hard enough in my opinion. The bar for me is competitive. It is an absolute monster over range. It's fantastic with its great damage penetration as well. Really fun to use. The Automaton, top meta. This thing is a laser beam. It's got incredible damage, especially with that 50 round mag. And it is an absolute laser over range. You really cannot miss a shot. It's also extremely satisfying to use. And finally, the Itra Burst. It is an average weapon as well. The burst rifles, I've never really enjoyed using burst rifles, and for me, it just falls in that average category. It could be a little bit better in my opinion. So there you have it, guys. The absolute definitive, don't argue with me, tier list of Vanguard weapons in Season 1. This is what I think is the best options you can currently use right now after getting Atomic Camo. The grind is finally complete. We can get back to playing Warzone now, making some more videos. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know where you think these weapons fall. Have you been playing much Vanguard? Let me know what you're using and what your favorite weapons are. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe.